I would just check the levels.
Testing.
Testing.
Can you hear me well?
Actually, hello.
Hey.
Hi.
In-person podcast.
What is
crazy.
this? Humans.
Hey, it's Eran here coming to you from a hotel room in Sofia, Bulgaria. And I am here as a digital nomad. And a few weeks ago, I was in Bensko, another little town in Bulgaria. And there was a digital nomad event with a lot of people, hundreds of people attended. And one guy in particular who actually lives there, his name is Samson, and he is a YouTuber. And I did an interview with him. And his YouTube channel is all about artificial intelligence. So me and Samson, or Sam, we actually met playing soccer. And it was only a few weeks into playing together that we realized, oh my God, we're kind of both in the same niche, doing the same thing, both YouTubers and stuff like that. And we did an interview, and I had a very specific stance about AI, which is I refuse to create content which is AI generated for my email marketing, my courses, and my blogs and things along these lines. And it was really interesting to actually have a chat with him and learn some things about AI and how I can integrate AI into my business without compromising my values and my decision on doing that and staying authentic, but also getting a completely different perspective. What was interesting is we discussed different topics, which I think you'll find really interesting. I found it very interesting. Number one, some 3 amazing tips about YouTube and how to get your YouTube videos viewed. We also spoke about Udemy and the value of using Udemy as a course platform versus your own platform, and how that all works, because he's got a Udemy course with over 10,000 students. And also we discussed partnerships with other companies who actually translate your courses. So basically your courses are in different languages. So there was really a whole bunch of different things that we spoke about, which I really didn't expect. And I think you're going to find this interview really insightful. The interview is just under 50 minutes. And I want to give you this little preview just to make sure you know what to expect. So you also know you're investing your time in something that's going to actually give you value. Additionally, there's going to be a PDF you can download. The link is going to be somewhere below this video for you to actually download a bit of a recap and a summary of this interview, transcript, things along these lines, in case you're really busy and you want to just read through the information. That's totally cool as well. I think you'll enjoy this interview. My video editor just finished editing it, and I just wanted to do a little quick preview video before we move on to the actual interview itself, which is in person, by the way. In-person podcast, you know, very not very usual really for me. But anyway, it was a cool interview. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And yeah, that's about it. I'll turn it over to the interview. Cool. Alrighty. Samson, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to do a podcast in person. So wanted to do an interview with you because you're an AI expert and YouTuber, and wanted to just, you know, get a free coaching session on different things I'm interested in and also share some value with my audience. So thanks for being here and inviting me over to your place. We're in Bulgaria, by the way, in little Bensko. So yeah. So why don't you tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, who you serve. Start there.
Absolutely. So it's wonderful to be with you here today, Eran. And we've been actually playing football together. This is how we met. And then it was only after a short bit of talking that we realized we both run YouTube channels and we have some similar interests.
Yeah, totally.
And I am making content about AI, about the AI revolution. I have my own YouTube channel and also launching a number of courses. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be alive right now in the wonderful opportunity that presents us.
Yeah, totally. How long have you been in the AI world? Is this something that you just like caught as a niche, or is it something you've been fascinated about for a long time? Or
So I've always been fascinated about technology. It's like really taken my interest. And now, in the last year, watching how far technology has evolved in such a short space of time is absolutely astounding. And I am incredibly excited to be a part of this and to have the opportunity to actually do things that are original and new.
Yeah.
Because I like to think of it as like being an artist and suddenly somebody has invented an entirely new medium. But suddenly it's like the invention of clay or photography, and we can really express ourselves in new ways with this technology.
Yeah, love that. Tell me a little bit about the background. Like, obviously, like you've got, still at the time of recording, you've got over 50,000 subscribers.
I just spilled my coffee over here. It's okay, sorry. Yes.
The beauty of doing things live.
Just clean my phone. 50,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you got 50,000 subscribers, and I just want to know, like, what's the backstory to you actually doing? Because it doesn't happen overnight. Like, no matter what anybody says, you know, like to get to 50,000 takes effort, time, skills, all that stuff. Like, do you have background in video editing? What do you have background in and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Well, I think I've always wanted to be a YouTuber in some way. I've also always wanted to perform and present and communicate.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of improv comedy a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
And this gave me quite a lot of skills in improvising conversation and words and sentences that make sense, as well as adding a little bit of a humorous element to this. And I did some live shows, but I always wanted to take this further and see like what is my path, what is my unique opportunity to do this. And so I've tried a number of YouTube channels. So this is not my first YouTube channel. So you don't see the poetry channel that has 37 subscribers.
Okay.
Or the tantric couples meditation channel that I think got up to like I think maybe we hit 1,000 subscribers with that. But the problem with that one was me and my partner were doing it and we broke up. Okay. And so we'd like made all this content about tantric couples meditations, and then suddenly it was just me. But you can actually still find some of these interesting videos on the internet from my past life. But then, so my background specifically as a profession is in design. So I graduated as a UX designer, and I worked in the corporate world for a while as a branding consultant, working with large corporations like Allianz and the Royal Shakespeare Company, Sundance Film Festival, and Ralph Lauren. And then I quit to start my own business, and this progressed into wanting to make content. So I started to make content around digital art, and I was getting some traffic on this, but it wasn't growing. I think I hit like 1,000 subscribers with that channel too. But it was only in the last year that AI came out, and I noticed that, wow, people are really interested in this, and there's an opportunity to create videos that are completely original. And so then I just completely doubled down, stopped all my other projects, tried to learn as much as I can about YouTube, and now I'm just trying to make my videos better and better. And also move away a little bit from search traffic and really target the browsing traffic. So make the videos slightly more watchable rather than just people looking to solve a specific question.
Interesting. Could you elaborate on that? Like, what's the difference between browse traffic and what was the other thing you said?
Browse and search traffic.
How would you differentiate that?
So it would certainly be how people find your video. Yeah. So from the research I've done is that 80% of views on YouTube come from people being recommended videos by YouTube. So they haven't actually gone there looking for this video. Yeah. And it's the algorithm from YouTube that thinks they're going to enjoy this video.
Got it.
And so because that's where most of the views on YouTube are coming from, it's where the biggest market, the biggest audience is available to you. And it's also, in my mind, easiest when you're targeting this audience to build a relationship, because they're not using you just to answer a question. So if I search something like, I've been trying to replace the tire on my electric scooter recently, and I will like search specifically like, how do I change the tire on this model of this scooter? And the guy comes up and he's got like maybe 100,000 views for this video, but I don't feel like a relationship. It's like I'm never going to come back and like keep watching scooter tutorials. Yeah. And it's not like I have like a passion about the engineering of this.
Interesting.
But with the videos about where you're, say, taking people on a story. So my videos have turned more into solving a problem to now me challenging myself to do something. For example, like, can I make a business with AI in 24 hours?
Yeah. More of a journey, but they're kind of part of a series, more like almost like a TV series kind of thing. Interesting. And you know, it's so funny to hear you talk about that. First of all, at least two YouTube channels before that?
Yes. Yeah, at least 2 YouTube channels.
At least 2 YouTube channels.
If not more that I've forgotten about, yes. There was a comedy one as well,
actually,
that I'm very embarrassed about.
Yeah. But that's so good to know also, because you know, it's not like overnight you came and all of a sudden 50,000, like you've done this 1, 2, 3. This is iteration number 4 minimum. And then also the experience in UX, how many years have you done that? Like the design and all that?
So I really started working on that as soon as I went to university at age 19. I was picking up freelance gigs within my first year. Okay. And I was doing that. And then it was really in the last year that I sort of put a lot of that work on hold and stopped taking on new projects around being a consultant, a brand consultant, or a designer for startups or companies.
And how many years did you do that for?
So that would make it like 12 years, I suppose, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time. Yeah, that's a lot of experience doing that. That's awesome.
A lot of experience doing user experience.
Yeah, totally, totally. But it's a skill, it's a skill like somebody that just starts out 6 months, a year, like there's only so much you can learn, but you do that for years. Amazing. And I looked at your videos, I think it was the AI, the clone. You did a clone of yourself on AI. And the quality of the editing, and it's not just the editing, but also the graphics and everything was like, you could see it's like very, very high level. There's no way you learned that overnight, I figured. So do you have any video editing experience as well? Or is that something you have hired for, or how does that work?
So that's a great question. And I don't have any specific video editing experience.
Okay.
However, I would say that from having a background in design, there are certainly some overlapping concepts around how to frame instances. And then again, I mean, it's a distinct medium of storytelling. So I would also say there is an overlap from, say, taking the approach of theatre and improv and implementing that into your video editing. And I have 2 full-time editors pretty much helping me out. And we've been through a process together of essentially trying to define a style of how much editing we put in. And some of my videos, people complain that there was like way too much, like noises, weird cuts, and like over editing.
Yeah.
And so that's been a balance to refine. I think personally, like reflecting on it, I still think there is a long way to go to actually improve the quality of this. For me, when I watch it, I was like, yeah, it's getting better, but it's not as polished as I would like.
Yeah. Interesting. And then in terms of like your growth on YouTube and stuff like that, is this your main gig now, primarily?
Yes, so I use a YouTube channel to funnel people to my courses.
Okay.
And essentially that's where most of the revenue comes from. And the plan is to essentially keep growing the YouTube channel, keep building more courses, and introduce a membership platform, which I'm currently working on. And I have other projects which I've sort of now parked or tried to integrate into the new project. So I have a blog which I worked on for many years that was about design. And now all the content we're publishing on the blog is about AI design. So I take all the videos and transcribe them and post them as blogs. And then also, so I integrate a lot of some of the existing things I've done into this new business. So I used to make a lot of templates for designers and sell these as digital products. And now I've basically like created a course on that, but doing it with AI. So it's taking what I already know and applying AI on top.
Got it. Adding it as an extra layer. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. How do you make decisions on what videos to create, what content to create? How do you go about the decision making?
That's a great question, and it's very interesting. So there are a number of different buckets of how this happens. I think there are 3 main ways. The first way is I get asked by a sponsored company to make a video on a specific subject, and that pretty much defines exactly what the angle, the topic's going to be, and maybe I will just choose exactly how we frame that. And so this is great because they pay me up front and I know what I'm going to make the video about. I don't have to think about it too much. The second way is I will look at trends or other people's videos in my niche and think about how can I put an original spin on this. So not just completely remake exactly what other people have done. So one of the recent videos I did was I made an AI clone to make more YouTube videos for myself. And this came from the idea of looking at someone else who had automated an entire YouTube channel with AI, but they weren't adding in this AI clone element. So I was like, okay, it's AI YouTube automation, but with your own clone, which was the slightly unique angle that I tried to put on this. And then the third way, I would say, is just like blue sky, like really just coming up with my own ideas and not being influenced by other people, not doing it for a company, but simply like, wow, I have an idea, I really want to do that. And I think they are, I suppose, perhaps in some ways the most fulfilling videos as well. But also they're the most risky because you're doing it sort of on intuition or without any sort of data backing your decision.
Yeah, I get it. Speaking of like intuition and data and all that stuff, obviously as a business owner you have to make business decisions, stuff like that, but at the same time I think the luxury of us working online is we can actually enjoy what we're doing at the same time. Tell me about some of the things that you as a YouTuber do not like at all? What are like the behind the scene, people don't realize how crappy this part is. What are those things you dislike, whether you're still doing it or outsourcing them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And one thing, I think it's a little bit part of my nature as well, is that I'm much more better at starting projects than finishing them.
Okay.
And I love to, should we say, like try new things and experiment and to like work on inspiration, should we say, like, so I have an idea, it's like, I'm just going to go for it and see how far I get. So my problem is I have a lot of unfinished projects and I'm not as organized as I would like to be. And for me, it's a real pain to like, so here we're in my studio and if you could see like around the edges of this frame, it's like a complete mess and everything is everywhere. So you see only the good thing. I'm not even wearing any trousers. No, I am though. I will prove that. But the idea is that I'm not organized and I struggle to be organized and keeping my team in check, like making sure they're working on the right things and like integrating systems and processes to my videos and my courses is something I'm working really hard on right now, implementing like these templates and processes in Notion. But it's something that like I do it and I start to feel like nauseous doing it because I'm like, oh, it's just too like systematic, it's too organized, it's too boxy, and I'm such a creative, free-flowing, expressive individual that putting myself into this it's a real challenge.
Yeah, interesting. Because you get a background. I mean, you're been an entertainer, like you're a comedian. There was that other thing that you did, that YouTube channel. Like those are very creative type channels. So obviously that's more your flow state, I guess. Interesting. And how many team members you have?
Yeah, so currently I have 2 assistants who are on like weekly retainer contracts. They're both in the Philippines and they help with customer support, research, and essentially repurposing content. Then I also have 2 editors who work on a project by project basis. So, but generally I think they're working like probably 20-30 hours a week for me, depending on how many videos we have or what's the backlog like. And then after that I hire people regularly on contract basis. So I have a number of different roles that I won't need like every week, but I have the same people I go back to. So they're on contracts like for a designer for thumbnails, or I have an ads guy or a web developer who helps me with my website stuff. And these are the main. Oh yeah, and at the moment I'm just starting to experiment a little bit more with hiring writers to write me scripts for my videos. So this is actually a new experiment where I've actually paid some guys like more, like quite like for me like a hefty fee for a script, because I want to create more videos faster and I want to experiment with like, does this help a lot if someone else is writing the script and it's not just me trying to come up with everything. And I've also just started testing out 2 new assistants who are going to help me with some really specific AI tasks. So really to help me like test and try new tools, create new templates and content, and really define. So one of the big projects I'm looking at now is looking at AI automation agencies and essentially defining what tools you would use for that. How can I create some systems that are going to help people actually implement this new business model? And I'm really looking to scale this area. So this is the team I have at the moment. And then consultants, I suppose the other ones I have regularly is there are a couple of YouTube consultants who I meet with once a month.
Okay.
And I run them through like problems or the questions I'm having and get their mentorship.
Got it. So they're basically coaching you on different things. And interesting.
Yeah, there's this one guy, he's like 10 years younger than me. He's like a Canadian YouTuber. He's absolutely smashing it. And he always has like such a wonderful insights on like how to frame my videos. Like we basically go through my videos and we look at the title, the thumbnail, and the hook, and we make sure that those are on point. And he's really good at defining those with me.
Interesting. Is that before you create the video or after?
So essentially, it's both. Yes. So what we first did was we went back and reviewed ones I'd done and improved them. And then as time went on, then I got to the point where, okay, look, in this session we're going to plan out the future videos, and that's a much better way to approach it. Is actually to make sure you have the hook, the title, and the image are pretty much the most important things for a video.
Hook, title, image. Okay.
I would say, and you need the content to be good, but basically no one is going to watch the content unless you've got those 3 nailed. So unless those 3 are really good, your video doesn't stand a chance.
Interesting.
And if anything, it's like almost like half your time should be spent, I would say, on this.
So the image you're referring to the thumbnail.
Exactly, yes.
Thumbnail, the title, and at the beginning of the video where you give them why they should stick around. Interesting. Okay, that's really good. That's really good tips. Hook, image, title. Okay, I love that. Let me ask you this. So, me as a business owner, I've made a commitment to my audience that I'm not using any AI tools for my content creation, as in my own writing, my emails, my course creation, my modules, my lessons, my video scripts. Like it's all 100% around original based on actual experience. What, without breaking that commitment, what other AI things do you know that you're like, yeah, this is where you could still utilize it and it'll be really helpful to save time?
But not related to the communication.
Correct.
Well, then I think creating images for your thumbnails, for your content, for your blogs, for your videos is a great opportunity to start leveraging AI tools to be creating very original imagery that suits your thumbnails. And I mean, beyond that, there are some great tools for summarizing. I mean, is this like moving into a little bit of like, where is the line, I suppose, of does it stop that this is no longer original content? I mean, if you're using an AI summary tool to listen, say, to your competitors' videos and then asking it to summarize what are the key points, then I would say this is a great automation tool. But is that influencing, say, then the content that you create too much?
Yes, I think that will probably be like, I guess that's the thing to define the line. I'd say that's maybe in my mind probably crossing the line, but like I think now that you said it, let's just say I record a video, I get a transcript based on my video, and then I'll tell AI, okay, ChatGPT or whatever, make a 5 bullet, 10 bullet based on my video, something like that. That I guess could be because it's based on my content. So interesting. What type of AI is like your favorite? Is it video editing? Is it content writing? Is it a mixture of everything? Like, what's give me the top 3.
Yes. So the top 3 tools that I use the most are certainly the third tool I would say is Opus, which is an AI
I've heard of that.
short form clipping tool, which can take your long form video content and do a lot of very good time saving tasks. So it clips out the most interesting parts, it frames them, it adds captions, it gives you a title, and it exports them ready to be uploaded onto all the short form platforms. So that's number 3. Totally recommend Opus Pro. Number 2 would be Midjourney for me personally, creating images with this AI art generator that I believe helps you create wonderful images for any different situation. And I've got a number of videos showing how you can use these in branding, use them in web design, use them for architectural designs, use them for creating essentially photorealistic stock photography, or even creating vectors for logos or designs. And the number 1 is definitely the good old favorite, the one you might have heard of, which is ChatGPT. And the reason for this is because ChatGPT is unique in the fact that you can train ChatGPT to perform so many tasks for you. So it's extremely broad, and I think it's very interesting how you can apply it to many different situations. And I would just come back to the point that we were talking about before about you saying that you are putting a standout saying that all of your content is going to be created by Eran. So if I was to play devil's advocate with you here and to give you a little bit of a challenge, it would be that is it possible to be using ChatGPT in conjunction with you? So the way I use ChatGPT is I will write out a first draft and then I will collaborate with ChatGPT and say, how can I make this better? So my question to you would be like, are you restricting yourself from improving your own communication by not using these AI tools? So I would believe that I'm maintaining my own personal voice with this, and yet I'm using it as a collaborator. So I will say like, okay, how does this come across? Are there any mistakes? Am I not being clear at any points? How could I improve this?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's definitely something to try, you know? I think it's totally worth trying. Interesting. Makes me think like, for example, like as I write my own emails, for example, for my list. So I could definitely record a video on like me writing the email, and give it to ChatGPT saying, could I write this better? Could you check for any typos? Could you improve it for me? what questions would you ask? Let's say I write the email. Let's go through that scenario. Let's say I write an email to my list and I want to give them an update about Bensko and how it was on what I learned, for example. What would I ask ChatGPT based on that to kind of improve, to collaborate with? What will be some questions or prompts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a very important process to understand. And the way I would go about it would first be defining what does better mean to me in the situation. Yeah. So understanding what am I trying to achieve, what do I want feedback on, and that's going to influence how you prime ChatGPT. So for example, you might put in, I want you to act as a professional copywriter. You're going to read my email. It's for this target audience. For example, for my email list, these are entrepreneurs in their 30s looking to start a new business. And I want you to give me feedback on, is this clear? Is it engaging? Is it repetitive? Is it understandable? Do you have any other ideas on how this could be better? Or what would improve the structure and flow of this email? And I want you to output me exact, precise alternatives for different sentences, words and phrases that you think could improve this. Please give me options and also explain why you think these are better. Then I want you to draft at the end one entire new draft based on the corrections that you have suggested. And then I'll output you a very long answer. And first of all, it's very kind, it's very interesting because it's wonderfully emotionally intelligent.
It's very polite.
It's very polite. And it will always give you a shit sandwich. So it will start off saying, well, you've done this so well. It's a really engaging email. I think people are going to love this. However, there are a couple of things you could look at that might improve. And then at the very end, it would say, like, on the whole, you've done a great job creating an email. If you were to think about these couple of elements between structure and linking, it would be even better for your audience. I was like, wow, thanks so much, ChatGPT. You've really impressed me. But the idea is that I like to get it to put out its whole working. So it gives you, like, why does it think that this is not such a good sentence, for example, and then give me options. So then I get to, it's not saying like, it should be like this. It's like, okay, it will give me an option. I'm like, okay, actually that does fit better. I didn't recognize it could come across this way.
Interesting. It's like feedback actually, versus write it for me. Interesting. I always thought of ChatGPT as just like a write it for me, regurgitate based on everyone else as opposed to original content. So you use it more of a brainstorming. It's almost like a brainstorming thing.
It's like a brainstormer, it's like a coach, a collaborator, a mentor. So I did a talk last week at this conference that we've both been at, Banksco Nomad Fest. Yeah. And before the talk, I record my entire speech, practicing here in this room. I then transcribe it using otter.ai to get a written transcript. I then copy and paste that back into ChatGPT and ask for exactly the feedback that I've just mentioned. And then I integrated that, and then I even then took this and talk about that in my talk as well.
Interesting. By the way, I think just such a funny side note. I've been in Bensko for like almost a month. We played soccer for the first week I've been here. I didn't even know about your talk. I missed it. And then I think 3 days ago, we played soccer again. And then we realized, we're both freaking YouTubers. Like, what the hell? So, if anything to take away is say hi to more people, because you just don't know who you're missing out on. You know what I mean? So, and what's funny, when we spoke, I think you asked me what I do, and I said, I'm a YouTuber. I usually don't even start with I'm a YouTuber. I usually start, because that's like a very side thing. I usually do, like I said, I've got a membership or whatever. But I know I said that first for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden, obviously, I had no idea. Anyway, it's just a really funny takeaway also, just as a business thing to, if you have the opportunity, freaking talk to as many people as possible, because you just never know who you meet. So, very interesting. I'm going to try this ChatGPT thing and see, and give you some feedback, and maybe I'll do a little video, AI, a little AI video. I'll get some inspiration from your channel. And then if I was to recommend to people in my audience, say 3 tools that you may have recorded videos on, do you have any videos that you would say, like, these are really good tools? Like, do you have one on Opus? Is it Opus, is it?
Yes, absolutely. I can totally recommend you check out Opus for repurposing content.
Okay.
I can also suggest that if you look at my video on 10 AI tools for video, there are a number of other good tools in there about speeding up the video production process.
Yeah.
and that includes, it looks at some of the AI tools from vidIQ. There's also a very interesting AI tool called Creator ML that I've been playing around with. This is a very heavy piece of kit where you can upload a lot of different thumbnails and titles, and it will give you a prediction on which one of these is going to perform best.
Interesting.
And that's a interesting tool, but I'm not so sure how well it matches up with reality at the moment. I'm still testing it out.
Interesting. Very cool. I want to switch over to another topic that I think is really important for me and my audience as well. A lot of us are course creators. You're a course creator as well. A lot of my audience are course creators or want to create a course. Now, I know you have a course on Teachable. You have a course on Udemy. Super curious about the Udemy business model, how that works. I've always been averse. Not averse as in I wasn't keen on it because of the percentages they take. And then I remember speaking with you, and you said you get 97% of the sale. Could you explain to me briefly pros, cons, what you like about it, what you don't like about it?
Yes, absolutely. So the 97% is what I believe to be any sale that I refer to Udemy. So if they go from my YouTube channel and click on my referral link, then I get 97% of that sale, which is a very fair split. However, on any sale that Udemy drives, that it comes from their platform, from their advertising, then they take, I believe, 60% plus transaction fees, taxes, and it really adds up to being a lot. But the advantage is that they put a lot of effort into promoting my courses, especially my most successful ones. So they have a huge audience of millions around the globe.
Yeah.
And essentially they're promoting it for free on your behalf. They're a marketing partner who are sending people notifications, ads, emails, it's showing up on their search on their platform, and this drives huge amounts of traffic to my courses. I'm still making money from them, and I also believe it's growing my audience because Udemy offers you access to email everyone who's taking your courses. So I have like 14,000 students on there, and I can email them all. I can email them about anything I like, so I can even send them links off of Udemy. I can send them to my YouTube channel or to sell new courses. And especially, so once you get the sale and they come in, and then you market them another course, if you send them a referral link, once they've become your customer, then you can get 97% of that course sale. So if you're making new courses and you're constantly reselling to your audience, it allows you to grow this audience quickly. And my plan essentially is like growing this audience, building a relationship with people so they enjoy my courses, they trust me. My next plan is to create a much higher ticket course offering that I will not put on Udemy, or I will put on Udemy, but there is the whole idea on Udemy is that the only way to get Udemy to promote your courses is to allow them to set the price. So this is a really key part, is that essentially they change the price for depending on who's looking at your page and where they are located. So
interesting.
In India, I think some of my courses I've made less than $1 per sale because they're selling it for like $5. But in the States, sometimes they sell it to people for upwards of $100.
Interesting. So they have a dynamic pricing model that way, depending on the country. Interesting, I didn't know that. Very cool. Out of the 14,000 students on Udemy, how much would you say you drove traffic versus Udemy?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would actually imagine that it's about 80% from Udemy.
Interesting. And what are the courses about?
So they're about different AI tools and also how you can make money with AI. So I go through a number of AI art generators, explain exactly how to use them and get the best out of them, as well as defining some of the mental concepts that you need to understand about prompt engineering. Then there are a couple of courses specifically aimed about how to take these skills and build up a side hustle or even a fully fledged business. So one example is by creating art and selling that. You can also create templates or web design templates. And one course I have specifically is about writing and illustrating an entire children's book and selling that on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Interesting. How many courses do you have then?
I think at the moment I have about 7 courses in total.
And 14,000 students between all of them?
Between all of them, but I would say like 50% of the students come from my mid-journey course.
So the big journey. Yeah.
That's the best-selling, most popular course.
Interesting. If you had somebody who's just getting started, wanted to put in a Udemy course, say me, what would be your advice? Pitfalls to avoid, things to look out for. Give me a quick rundown.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you're starting your first Udemy course, you want to get involved, I would suggest like make a course as quickly as possible and don't care about how good it is, and use it as an experience to get going and understand the platform. And when you do that, it automatically helps you understand the process involved. And then, my first course I did in like 2 days, and I was not happy with it. I didn't even like watch it after my editor had edited it for like the second time, because I just wanted to get it out there. But it was the best thing I could have done. It was just to get it out as soon as possible, and not to, should we say, get too precious about it, because something like a course can always be better. There's always like editing improvements. It can be tighter, cleaner. You can speak more clearly. The sound could be better. The lighting can be better. It's like endless improvements. But people really get so much value out of these courses that it doesn't need to be perfect. And if anything, I would go back and get them out faster, do more courses. I think that's the biggest tip I can do. Like, make more courses.
Interesting.
So don't try to make one amazing course. Try to make like
A bunch of them.
bunch of bad courses. Not bad, but
Yeah.
but don't have such high expectations of yourself. And it's so difficult not to be a perfectionist. And I certainly use perfectionism as an excuse not to produce.
Interesting.
But it's a psychological battle.
Yeah. And you've got courses on Teachable as well, right?
Yes, so I had the same Udemy courses uploaded.
Oh, so you had both same.
Exactly.
Freaking A, that's so interesting.
So that's a big advantage about Udemy, is that they're not exclusive like some platforms are. So they allow you to sell them in other places.
Okay. Is your pricing in Teachable way different?
So on Teachable, I offer a bundle of all my courses together.
Ah.
And included in this are some unique features which you don't get on Udemy. So you have access to a private community, and you also get much better coaching opportunities from myself. So we have a direct line. One of my assistants is hired specifically to answer questions for Teachable, and they filter through any questions that need my response straight to me.
Interesting. Very cool, very cool. What would you say is the ratio of students between Udemy versus Teachable?
I would say that it's probably about 80% on Udemy.
Yeah.
But I also, I was probably around that, yes. But I also have a number of other marketing partners who I've sold my courses to, and they are selling on their own platforms as well. And it's not so clear exactly how many they have
I get it.
they've sold as well.
What's the benefit of that for you?
Essentially, it grows my audience that they market it for me. So one of the things they're doing is I have a French partner who is translating my courses into French. And they're selling them to businesses in France and other French-speaking territories. I also have a Chinese partner who has translated and dubbed all my courses into Chinese.
Wow.
And they are selling them in China. And they've sold pretty well, but again, they take a very large cut. I think they were taking 80 to 90% of every sale. But the thing is, I would never get around to translating my courses into Chinese and marketing them in China.
Interesting. How did you get those partners? How did that come about?
They approached me. I was very fortunate that I moved very quickly when Midjourney came out a year ago, and I made a course like straight away. And this gave me a real good head start in getting an audience on Udemy and also getting partners online.
So they just reached out to you because of your YouTube channel, or because of Udemy?
I think both. I'm not sure if they found the Udemy or the YouTube channel first.
Interesting.
But I was getting some good traffic on both of these platforms a year ago.
Wow. Super interesting. It's like a world that I didn't know. I mean, I've heard about it, the partners like that. I just didn't realize you got the partners who do the translation and the dubbing. Freaking super interesting. Super interesting. How did you find out about it? They just reached out to you and said, hey, we want to translate your courses?
Exactly. They reached out, wanted to translate my courses. Then we negotiated for a long time about the contract. The Chinese company were particularly very, shall we say, difficult to negotiate with. They wanted a really high cut, and also to be honest, I had some reservations about partnering with a Chinese company with a reputation for Chinese copyright, and if I could trust them. And there are difficulties in having to pay tax on your Chinese income in China as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was quite a lot of work and effort to get it going in China, but now it's just set up, and like every month or so they send me a check, and I mean, there are thousands of Chinese people who have now taken my courses. So
wow.
I think overall it was a net positive, but it was a risk, and it felt like a risk.
Yeah. When did you do that partnership?
So we were negotiating for about 2 months, from November to January, and then it took another couple of months to finish all of the transcribing and dubbing and uploading the courses online.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. I love that. Okay. Udemy, AI tools we've discussed, YouTube. That's awesome. Is there anything you think that we might have missed? I think we covered a lot of stuff I was really curious about that really interested me and found some extra things that I didn't realize, which is really cool. If you were to, say, speak to yourself again at the beginning, would you have done anything different from the moment you started?
The YouTube channel or my entire life?
From the moment you were born.
Yeah.
From the entrepreneurial journey, from the moment what things you know now that would have probably saved you?
Yes. Well, that's a great question, and I appreciate it. It allows me a moment to reflect. And certainly there is a big thing that I would say to myself that I'm still trying to do now. I'm still trying to say it to myself now. And that's like build more processes and more systems, more templates to scale. Especially, I mean, on the number of my projects, I look like, wow, okay, I got something that was good, that resonated with people, that was a good market fit right now. There's an audience for this, people are buying this, but I didn't double down on that and scale it as much as I could. And specifically, when I was creating some type of graphic design templates, I was getting really good sales for brand guidelines templates. And there was an opportunity to essentially make this product again and again and again, but with different brands. So it would be like the same template, but with different skins on top. And essentially, I could have made an entire shop targeted just at selling brand guidelines templates, which are essentially like a book which helps companies define their logo, their images, their typography, their colors. And I could have made a business purely out of that very good angle and niche that I was very experienced with. I had a good product, but I didn't. I made like 2 versions of it and they sold very well. They were some of my best-selling products. But looking back, I wish it was like, wow, I should have hired a designer. I should have created its own individual shop front. I should have marketed specifically for this single product and made this the whole business and sold like 100 versions of this. And the same comes now. Now I'm making courses and videos. I can see that people are watching my videos, they're enjoying my courses, they're asking me for more. I have a lot that I want to do, but I don't have the time. And so right now I'm trying to build in better processes, better systems, better templates, so I can create more courses and more videos to a higher quality more quickly. So I'm trying to create these script templates, these publishing templates, these thumbnail templates, these course curriculum templates that I can reuse, and also make sure I'm hiring the right roles. So I've got a script writer who I can continually work with. I've got a designer who can do all of the design. I've got an editor who knows exactly how the courses need to be edited. I've got an assistant who's answering all of the messages. And this is suddenly I'm creating less, but I'm organizing more. And this is a challenge for me, a real challenge in taking it to the next step. Like when I was doing everything, I was like, yeah, I can get this to work, I know how to do this, I understand these things, but now I have to hire people to do those things. And it's like where I'm at. That's the challenge, and I wish I did more of this earlier and made it more of a, should we say, a commitment.
Less of a one-man show?
Less of a one-man show, and to really not let myself be the bottleneck for anything. And if I'm doing anything once that I will do again, just make that into a template, make that into a process, and get better at the actual skill of creating processes and templates. And that is a real skill to create those workflows, those process flows, and define them very clearly. And that's something I certainly want to get better at.
Yeah, love that. So I'm leaving Bensko in a few days. I'll be back. I don't know. I mean, I'll be back at some point, maybe next year or something like that. Where is Samson going to be in a year from now?
That's a good question. Physically or with my business?
Business.
With the business.
Physically, we don't really
We
know.
have no idea, yeah.
Physically, we have no idea. Business-wise, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to see yourself?
Business-wise.
Yeah.
So we both live nomadic lifestyles.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It's hard to know exactly where we're going to put. I do have a base here in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
But if we look at the business in 1 year, I mean, I certainly want to have launched my membership program, my coaching membership program. It's very key to me. Then I have some goals around my YouTube channel. I would love to hit 100k subscribers, and then there is this course I'm working on now, which I will hopefully be my most advanced, developed and useful course, which is a course for creating an AI automation agency.
Interesting. AI automation agency for YouTube specifically, or just like a freelance to support other businesses?
Yeah, so exactly, this is a great question. And at the moment, I'm at the point of defining exactly the angle and the scope of this course.
Yeah.
But the feeling I have at the moment is it's the idea, it won't be around YouTube specifically,
Okay.
it will be helping other businesses implement AI processes to essentially speed up and optimize their workflow and replace or allow some of their employees to work on more important tasks.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So 100,000 agency launch membership. Nice. Love that. I think I'd love to do a quick recap. So I'll tell my biggest takeaways from this. Number one, YouTube channel. I think iteration is really important because we're looking at the 4th YouTube channel that we can remember as a minimum, right? Regardless of how much effort was put into the earlier ones versus this one, like still it's, and I can tell you like, I have 2 memberships now, successful. I launched 2 memberships before that, failed completely. So it's super interesting to hear that like you've done this. And it's cool because this is like our first in-depth conversation, really. So it's not like I didn't know about the earlier channels and stuff like that. So it's just interesting to hear the story. The other takeaway for me was really interesting is the fact that you really were a freelancer at the beginning. You know, I preach to my people all the time, like you gotta start with a skill. You can forget about passive income, forget about scaling and this and that. Get a freaking skill and get really good at it. It doesn't really matter what that skill is. That skill is going to, number one, will be great to make money as a freelancer, but it's translatable to other things you're gonna do later. And it's super interesting to hear your background. I mean, it's to the T, you know, that graphic thing. The YouTube, title, thumbnail, hook, right? 3 things, so that was really good. Because without these 3, it's not that all the other stuff is not important, but without those, no one's gonna watch it. So that's really good to kind of put more focus. I can tell you, like I'm thinking about my stuff. Do I do a good hook? Do I do a good title? Do I do a good image? I could do better. I could focus on those things better for sure. You know, that's definitely good. And you've challenged me to do some AI things, so I'm gonna have to try some things. Super interested about the Opus. I did see that tool, and I swear I have an image on my phone from an Instagram story somewhere where I took a picture. I'm like, oh, I gotta go check this out. So I'll definitely check that out because definitely I've got a lot of content to repurpose, so it'll be silly not to try. And the ChatGPT collaborator, I'm gonna do a little test. We'll do a little video and see how that goes. And then the last thing was Udemy. Super interesting about the traffic, you know, because it's true. There's a lot. It's really a marketing strategy. It's really just an affiliate partner. It's pretty much what it is, isn't it? Very cool. Very cool. I mean, I've got like 10 plus courses, right? So I could easily tell my VA, hey, take them, whack it on. Like I could have this done in like no time. So it's just like really interesting. And then the language things is super fascinating. I have a question on the language thing. Is this something that you think has contributed to your YouTube channel as well? The language translations, Chinese, French.
I think it's incredibly hard to see if that is the case. I noticed that I don't have a large audience in China on YouTube.
Okay.
I wonder, I'm not even sure how accessible YouTube is in China.
Yeah, I don't think VPNs.
Yeah, but then I suppose it wouldn't show up as Chinese traffic,
No.
so it's hard to know on that front. But
Maybe you're a celebrity, who knows?
It could be. But then the French, I noticed I think about 4% of my audience are French speaking.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's like a fairly sizable amount based on the population in the world that speaks French, I would imagine.
Yeah. Interesting. Very cool, very cool. Anyway, that's my takeaways. So it was super helpful. I really appreciate it. That was good stuff. Is there anything you feel like, oh, this is something I really want to share that will be valuable to communicate?
No, not at all. I think it's been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciated the way that you summarized everything.
Yeah.
You did that very well.
Yeah.
And I hope to have another conversation with you.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much. One thing I'll also mention, if you're watching this on my channel or on your channel, however we end up doing this, I'll probably do like a little PDF summary on the different points, including some of the videos that I think will be helpful from what you said about the AI tools and stuff like that, get some recommendations so we also can summarize a lot of stuff that we discussed into some actionable steps. I think would be really valuable, like a checklist or something like that. So I will leave a link somewhere below, wherever that's going to be. And where can people find you? Obviously YouTube. What's the name of the channel? Any links? Anything they should search for or anything like that? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
where do you like to be found?
You can find me on my channel, Samson Vowles, Delightful Design, or my website, delightfuldesignstudio.com. And yeah, that's me.
That's you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Eran.
Cool. Awesome.
Ciao.
See ya.